Do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's podcast time. Yeah, dig it? The Dynasty Podcast is brought to you by Jube's Family Restaurant. Family owned and operated since 2002. Jube's Family Restaurant's gourmet pizza and fresh food seafood is better than dirty, dirty sex. Get your ass to Jube's Family Restaurant and don't forget to tip your fucking waitress.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the assholes on the Dynasty tonight. That's right. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Dynasty tonight. Why do we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like some kind of torture to have to watch the show. And now let's get things started. Why don't you get things started? It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, sexuational. This is what we call the Dynasty Podcast.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode number 15 of the Dynasty Podcast, being brought to you by Jube's motherfucking restaurant, family restaurant. We don't want to forget, they're always there for the fams. This is Commissioner Andrew Kastanos Sven broadcasting from the Tom Berkowitz Trucking Riverdale Studios, and I am rejoined by Bubba Palucha. Bubba, I thought Matt, John, and Brian's trifecta podcast last week was remarkable and fun. What did you think?
They were okay.
Just okay.
They were okay.
I thought they did a wonderful job,
Nah.
considering it's just
It's
once a year. They're not accustomed to. They haven't gotten everything down like we have. I thought they were great. I thought the Thanksgiving feast was great.
That was fun.
That was fun, right?
Mm.
Bub, are you the type of individual who is okay with receiving areas of opportunity, things you need to work on, or are you kind of like a faggot and you're always thinking you're 100% correct with everything you do?
It's hard for me because I usually am right with everything I do.
Okay.
So
you're
I'm
fag.
not used to hearing criticism.
Oh, that's too bad to hear.
But hey, when it happens, it happens. I can take it. I'm a man.
That's better.
I'm
I
not
like
40,
that.
but I'm a man.
Right. I don't know if you heard some of the areas of opportunity that I happened to mention on the show last week that you maybe could possibly work on a little bit. We all have them. I have them. I feel as if you have them. We all have them. You're no different, Bubba. You're no different.
Yeah, I'm a little different.
You are a little different. You're a horse of a different color sometimes. Anyway, we're okay, right? You weren't offended or bucked or anything, right?
Oh no, we're good.
Okay, good.
We're good.
Good. Wow. Well, we're in store for a great show as always. Let's first talk about the league poll that's been up there now for a couple of weeks. It kind of spurred off of our conversation from a couple of shows ago. It's asking whether or not you guys feel the CBS projections are for the most part correct or for the most part not correct, and it looks like we had mostly everyone agree with me for a change. That they're saying that it's mostly inaccurate. We had 83% say that, and 17% agree with you, Bob, and say that it's pretty much accurate.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
You didn't even vote?
No, I voted
you
inaccurate.
You did?
I believed it was inaccurate the whole time. I was just
pulling my chain.
I was yanking your chain.
All right. Well,
Sorry to burst your bubble.
No, not at all. But somebody thinks that, or maybe more than one. What, 2 people? How does that math work, Bob?
No, that's one.
One person
One
out of the 6 feel that for the most part it is accurate. I wonder who that person is. Speak up, whoever you are. Let us know who you are, and we'd like to hear from you. Actually, and something else I wanted to mention to you, Bob, and ask you for actually quite a while now, and I'm just remembering now. Do you still have the old version of the league homepage for your profile on the CBS website, or do you have the new version?
No, I think I have the new one.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you do then, because how do you like it? Like, have you gotten used to it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's not...
Everything's just okay with you today, Bob.
Yeah. I'm in one of those moods.
Okay, all right. Your team's just okay, just so you know.
Oh, my team is less than okay.
That's true. That is true. So you've gotten used to it, and do you recommend it, or I mean, I'm not sure if most of our league members have the newer version, or if you've gone with the old version, how I have.
You know what I am. I'm kind of like that song, like a Rolling Stone.
And how does that go, Bob?
I just go with it. I just go with it, like a complete unknown, like a Rolling Stone, dancing all the pretty people out there thinking that they got it made. Like that.
I'm not familiar with that song.
Yeah, it's what's his name? Isn't it Bob Dylan or?
Okay.
Like a complete unknown, like a Rolling Stone. You haven't heard that song?
I'm sure I have.
That's like, I'm not kidding. That's like rated like one of the top two songs.
I'm sure I have. It's
maybe I'm just not a good singer.
Your version may have not have kicked it in there for me. All right, and then another update, Bob, is that I happened to be talking. This was a couple weeks ago, and again, you and I weren't on the show last week together hosting as we usually are, so I wasn't able to mention this, but I happened to be talking with former Dynasty coach Joe St. Dennis. Some of you know him, some of you love him, some of you may hate him, some of you don't know who he is. He asked a question a couple weeks ago on the Dynasty Podcast segment. Anyway, he happened to break some information, which I thought the league would just get a little bit of a kick out of. Remember PJ DeFagowitz?
Yes.
So he won the championship back in the first season of the Dynasty. He was part of the league for a couple of years, and one thing led to another, and he literally challenged me to a fist fight, which I'm kind of going back on. I actually wish I obliged that challenge, but anyway, I think it was D6 where we ended up, having to fill a spot. This was back before we had the wonderful 12 members that we have in the league now, and we had to fill a spot, and I ended up, asking him if he wanted back in the league, and he said yes, and it was like it was probably in June when I asked him, and then you guys know how much ahead of the time I kind of plan things, and then the draft came, and then he I think called me that morning or whatever and said that he had a softball game and he wouldn't be able to make it to the draft, and I think a lot of you guys remember this, but and then that's actually how we got Zach in the league.
Yes.
He ended up joining that year and drafting via the phone, and obviously I'm glad this happened because it ended up getting Zach in the league, which is way better. But anyway, the point of what I'm saying is that Joe let me know that he actually spoke with PJ recently. I guess he also does not speak to that person anymore, but he happened to run into him at a store or something, and somehow or another the Dynasty or myself got brought up. And Joe let us know that PJ actually planned the whole thing.
Really?
Yes, and I had the same reaction as you, like, you gotta be kidding me. How pathetic of an individual are you? You are a sad, mean-hearted person.
That's just, I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words.
I know, imagine saying, oh yeah, sure, I'll rejoin the league, knowing that you are going to purposely try to screw me or not really me, but the league over by, not coming to the draft last second. And actually, he failed, because if he were, he shouldn't have even have texted me that morning and said he wasn't coming. Anyway, we're going way back 5 years or so ago, but I thought that was just interesting.
Yeah.
Just very pathetic. Mm-hmm. We have a new Twitter follower, Bob, on the at Riverdale Gazette. I don't know if you happen to see it or not. We're growing here.
Tell me it's Brie Olson.
No, it's not. We are following her.
Lisa Costanza.
She is not on the Twitter. Absolutely not.
I don't know.
She still has a flip cell phone. Jerry Remy.
Come on.
Jerry Remy
that must not be the real Jerry Remy.
Check it out, because
no
I'm pretty sure it is the real Jerry Remy.
I don't believe you either. Even if I see it, I still not gonna believe you.
The color commentator for Nesson.
Why would he
the Red
follow
Sox.
you?
I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it is the real Jerry Remy. And just a couple days ago, he is now following at Riverdale Gazette. So we are a growing business.
It doesn't
here.
make any sense.
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And speaking of no sense, on this show, we are going to discuss Week 13. We're going to preview Week 14. We'll welcome on Coach Brandon McDowall of Brutal Deluxe. He's going to be on for the coaches interview. And on this interactive segment, as the John, Matt, Brian trifecta announced last week, we are going to go ahead and have actually a fellow commissioner. He is his name is Andrew Kastanos. Hopefully Kastanos. Close to Costanza.
Yeah.
Kastanos. Okay. And he is the commissioner of a fantasy football league, which had the awesome idea of having a WWF, actually an old school themed WWF fantasy football draft. Obviously back in probably August, September. And I thought it'd be a great idea to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Kind of, Bob, you and I can, run through some questions with him and find out how all that went. And I think his friend, who's also in the league, Sven, is also going to be, joining him. And actually, it got some publicity when it occurred a few months ago on Deadspin.
Yeah, I saw that.
Thank you to Coach Phil Tamulus, who certainly gets the John Stockton assist here for pointing this article out to me, and then myself going ahead and getting Andrew and Sven on the interactive segment later on the show. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great, Bub. And actually, Brian last week asked me a question about whether or not there were some inside interesting, entertaining things that may have occurred with some of the interactive guests we've had over the years. And I hope I answered that correctly, Bub, as far as letting people know about the Sister Amy Lore Hall, the McFoleys of the world. But as far as Andrew and Sven are concerned, they actually have been contacting me over the past few months, wanting to hear the show that they are on, because they want to send the link out to their league. I think, where were they, in Texas?
I think it was Texas.
Wait, was it Michigan?
No, I think it was Texas.
Was it Texas? Okay. So this show hopefully will be listened to the many members of the Andrew and Sven League out in Texas. And
fuck you guys.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, we don't want to start a war here. We don't want to start a fantasy war. We're partners in crime. We want to be teammates here. Teammates.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I jumped the gun.
So let's do it. Let's do it.
Now let's take a look into last week's results. Who kicked some ass? Who sucked?
Week 13, Bubba. Wow.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13. The South defeated the North 4-2 in those head-to-head matchups. And, man, a lot went down. Since 1960, it was the first time 3 wide receivers scored 35 or more points in the same week, Bub.
Really?
Yes.
That's a fun fact.
Right? Mr. Eric Decker, Josh Gordon, Alshon Jeffrey all put up over 35, which was crazy, and they're all involved in the same game, which let's segue right into that shit.
Good segue.
The Riverdale Scoopers up against the Rockdalian Senators. A tip of the hat to Mr. Johnny C., who on the show last week predicted that this is going to be a great game, and it certainly was. It was an epic matchup. It was a couple of juggernauts, just a heavyweight battle is what happened. 2 sumo wrestlers, Bubba, is what happened.
Who? Which 2?
There's Scoopers and the Senators. Pay attention.
No. What two wrestlers? What 2?
This was like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant.
But you said sumo wrestlers, so I was thinking Yokozuna.
Yokozuna and
Yokozuna's cousin.
You don't know any other sumo wrestler.
We'll say Mark Henry.
Mark Henry.
Because he's kind of like a sumo wrestler.
We should have Mark Henry on the show one of these days, Bubba. We should have Mark Henry.
Look into that.
We're going to look into it. The Scoopers defeated the Senators 183 to 151. I go up to 7-6. Will drops down 8-5. I want to just let everyone know as we go through these games here, we will talk about the standings and the playoff implications going through the game, so we'll hold off on all that for now. Bub, what are some of your takeaways what do you think occurred during this game? What do you have to say? I have a bunch I'd like to say, but go.
I bet you would. I'm going to focus on the negatives.
Sure.
I'm going to focus on the negatives.
I have a negative about this game, but you go first.
I got to think of some negatives.
Think of a negative.
Oh, I got a negative.
Okay.
I think obviously a great performance by your team and Phil's not Phil's team. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later on. Will's team. It sucks to score 151 points and still lose. So two things. Number one, you put up 183 points.
Yeah.
With a negative from the quarterback. That is unheard of.
Is that a negative or a positive? It's almost like a positive, the fact that I was able to score 183 with a -1 at quarterback.
You could have broken the record if you had a real quarterback.
And that's my negative. But you had a second one or no?
Yeah, I'm afraid. I'm not really.
You're afraid, Bubba. Come here.
I'm not afraid. I'm not. Get off me. I'm not afraid. I believe that maybe your team blew its load a week or two too early.
Well, but you shouldn't be afraid because you don't want me to.
That's what I mean. I'm not afraid.
You're afraid.
I believe that happened.
Gotcha.
So that's a possibility. Eric Decker deciding to double his touchdown total, more than double his touchdown total in one single game.
Yes.
Don't you think you would have wanted some of those touchdowns maybe in 2 weeks? You could have said, hey Eric, why don't you just not score 2 of those touchdowns, save them for maybe this coming week or the next week?
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Bub, you make a great point here. You're such a great guy. Thank you. Thank you for being who you are.
It was a good job. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to take something that you can't all be positive.
If I could,
constructive criticisms.
Absolutely. If I could, well, not really. I had no control over any of this. Once you set your lineup, you're just sticking your thumb up your ass and hoping for the best. But
love doing that.
Hey, did you ever try counterclockwise?
No.
With the strawberry lubrication?
No.
We'll do that later.
Okay.
Yeah, of course I wish I could take 20 points from this game and roll them over until next week or the week after. Obviously, that is not what we do here.
No, you can't do that.
One of my negatives, which kind of relates to what you were talking about, Bub, and it actually it kind of hits home with you. I shit you not, I'm not just saying this. Last week when I was deciding on which quarterback to play, it was between Mr. Matt Flynn and Brandon Whedon as to who to pick up and play. Obviously, I went with Flynn, but I was honestly really close between the two. If I ended up going with Whedon, he scored 26 points. I would have defeated your 201 point mark.
210?
The record that you have. I think it would have been 207.
Wait, how much did he score?
26. So you do.
Oh, he scored 20. I'm sorry. So that's a 25. 208.
208, right. So I would have beat your record. Your tattoo, what I'm looking at right now on your arm of 201.
And by arm he means penis.
It would have been, you would have been devastated by that.
I would have been.
From a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you would kill yourself. If I of all coaches defeated and bettered your 201 weekly record, how would you have felt? 1 to 10. 8. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Your record stands, so congratulations.
Yeah.
So a couple of tips here regarding this game before we move on. It was such a wonderful thing. I want to spend a little bit more time on it, and plus I'm involved, so of course I'm going to focus here
Obviously.
on it. Eric Decker's 41 points is the 4th best game of a wide receiver's ever had in the past 20 years. 183 points by myself is the most points scored in a week in my franchise history, which surpasses my previous high of 168 points, which occurred back in the playoffs of Dynasty Season 2. Bubba, what else? You want something else?
Yeah, hit me with some knowledge.
This is the 3rd time this year I've led the league in most points in a week here. Bub, you want another one?
Yeah, come on, keep them going.
7,823 points, not 22, 23 points here in Era 2 by myself, which has passed Coach Phil for the most points ever scored in an era.
That's weird. He usually scores a lot of points.
One more, Bub?
Yeah.
334 total points between Will and myself in this game was only 12 points shy of breaking a Dynasty record, which you and Brandon have, of the most total points between the two teams in one matchup of 346. So a lot of records were almost broken, none of which actually were, but a great game, especially for me, and a stinger for Will. Bubba, anything else to add on this game?
Just too bad you weren't playing horseshoes for the records thing. Almost. You almost broke them.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah.
All right, the next game was Yellow Peril defeating the Rapists, 132-79. Peril goes up to 10-3. John drops down to 6 and 7.
I'm just thinking about when our buddies in Texas there hear this. Oh, the rapists lost.
And like we didn't even talk about the fact because we're up. I mean, this is week fucking 13, 14. We're used to hearing the rapists, but
I was in that. I
hear you. This is a franchise record, 9 wins in a row here for Jay Young. It's kind of ironic. He's had his longest losing streak and longest winning streak in his franchise all in the same year.
That is weird.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy talk. I'm kind of doing some scouting and researching for the edition 4 of the Riverdale Gazette, and I happened to come across that earlier today. Hope you guys still read the Gazette. I don't want to give too much information here.
Oh, no, I read it.
Good.
I usually just go poop on purpose just so I can read it.
I love it. I know a lot of you folks out there do that. And you folks there in Texas, if you want a Riverdale Gazette, you just let my ass know, and we will talk about how to contact me at a later point in the show. The Jay Young is now 22 and 21 all time, so they are now a winning franchise as of right now. They've gone above the 500 marker, and they've clinched a playoff spot, which we will talk about later on the show. And John is just he's hurting at this point.
He is.
Bubba. He's hurting. The Hong Kong Cavaliers defeated narrowly VIP on Swole. Just another good game. 103 to 100. Whiffen goes up to 11 and 2. Chris drops down to 7 and 6. Whiffen has also clinched a playoff berth, and Chris needed Skittles Marshawn Lynch to do
surprising.
He needed him to do basically just a decent game for him.
He
didn't do it.
If you told me that Seattle was going to put up 30 plus, however much they put up, and he was going to have 5 fantasy points, I would have said you were crazy.
Right.
But he had a couple opportunities in the red zone.
Yeah.
He did, and he couldn't cash in.
Well, if I'm sure that Chris's Marshawn Lynch is just saving up his good game for 2 weeks from now, which we will get to later on in the show when we talk about what the hell's going to happen from here on out. Pig Newtons, Bob, defeated the Boston Loggers with a wonderful...
Let me guess.
Wonderful.
Let me guess. I bet Phil must have put up like $1.30.
86 points.
Ben put up 86 or Phil put up 86?
No, Phil, Bubba.
Oh, and
Phil
he won?
Yes, Phil won with 86 points.
It's not like him.
86 to 81. And you know what, Bub? I can tell you're at the edge of your seat. Just go ahead.
Okay, here's my weekly Phil rant. I just want to read a couple factoids for you. I wrote them down here. So, since week 5, Phil is 4 and 4. And do you know how many times Phil scored over 100 points since then?
2.
0. Wow. So he's 4 and 4 with no.
That was a guess.
No over 100. How many times on the season has he scored 100 or more?
2.
3.
Okay.
Brian and myself have both scored over 100 twice. Brandon, who is 1 and fucking God knows what.
1 and 12.
1 and 12. One of the fucking worst franchises I've ever
13,
seen.
Right?
No,
1 and 12.
1 and 12.
Yeah.
Has scored over 100 3 times. Same as Phil. Zach, who has 3 wins on the year, scored 4 times over 100 points. And then Heaney's at 10, Will's at 9, Eric's at 8, and I didn't do the last couple people.
You've proven your point.
So my point is, Phil is getting fucking ass turd lucky, and I'm fucking sick of it.
Yeah, you are. You've been sick of it for quite a long time now, going on about 2 years here. And obviously a little bit more this year than last year. Last year, I don't think he was lucky. He
took
good
2
team.
bagels, and he won.
Yeah, and it's interesting, especially due to the fact that Phil is one of the fantasy coaches here in the league that he's admitted now to believing in the fantasy gods, but one of the few that believe in them at an extremely minimal point. So
He must have sacrificed someone very close to him then.
Well, whatever he's done is working because the son of a bitch is 8 and 5. I actually wrote down a couple of nuggets as well. He's only you may have already said this. I apologize if you did.
That's okay.
Did you say that Phil has only scored 100 plus points 3 times
Yes.
this year? You did.
Yes.
And I happen to expand upon that.
Okay.
The 3 times he's put up 100 points was 106, 106, and 104.
So he's smoking it.
It's not like
he
put up 140 a couple. It's just over 100. And Phil, I just want to let you know, I'm just speaking the facts here. Bubs, you're going a little.
Oh no, I was speaking facts. I was spitting knowledge like Eminem or Dr. Dre.
And
I can rap it if you want.
Phil has won 5 games this year in which he has scored less than 100 games. 100 points. Sorry, 100 points. Again, facts here. Facts. Ben needed Garrett Hartley, the kicker on the Saints, to simply put up 6 points on Monday night. He put up 1.
It's tough to put up 6 when your team only scores 1 touchdown.
Yes, indeed it is. And then a couple of...
Basically impossible.
No, it's not. I lied. Sorry. 2 final games which occurred, which nobody really cares about, so we're going to fly by them, is the Handy Quacks beating Brutal Deluxe 112-90. Brutal's an 8-game losing streak, which is still his franchise, continuing his franchise's longest losing streak. He has clinched last place in the league, so he will take home the toilet trophy at the draft. Yes, Bubba?
I'll tell you, these actually have more significance than you think.
How so?
This was brought to my attention.
Okay. Maybe like draft order?
Well, yeah, but
not really, because they're in the bottom tier.
But listen to this.
Okay.
So Zach is now 3-10. 9. There's only 12. We only played 12.
I did it again.
3-9.
3-9.
I am 4-8.
Yes.
Let's say we both lose this week. We play each other week 15.
Oh,
I would be 1 game up, and he's beating me in points. So if he beats me, so that game is for pizza.
For the pizza, okay.
Assuming neither of us win this coming.
Right. So yeah, no, you're right. And a couple years ago when we implemented this pizza thing, which I think was Zach's idea, which is another great idea by Zach. I think this is yet another, good feature in the league, because it kind of still gives teams like you, Bub. And,
I'm trying to win.
Yeah,
I've been trying to win the whole time.
Right. Failing most of the time, but trying nonetheless. Soul Glow defeated you, Bubba, 98-88, and nobody really cares other than some of the things you just mentioned.
No, right? I would have beat Phil though.
All right, so let's get to Bub some of the standings here, some of the playoff implications. I believe. You, Bub, and Soul Glow have been officially eliminated.
Yes.
You've joined Zach Handy Quacks and Brandon Brutal Deluxe being eliminated from the playoffs. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. We mentioned earlier Hong Kong and Yellow Peril have both clinched playoff berths. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, and if you could, do you want to just explain real quick how
sure.
Jay Young has? Would you like me to explain?
I would like you to.
So those of you saying, "Well, Jay Young, whoa, pump the brakes, bro." Jay Young is 2 games up on Senators and Newtons. He has 10 wins. They both have 8. Mm-hmm. They both play each other in Week 15. Therefore, they can't both have 10 wins. Therefore, even if Peril loses his next 2 games, one of those 2 will only end up with 9.
Right.
And so he clinched at least a wild card.
Very good explanation. Coaches Matt and Jay Young are both the only 2 teams here now fighting for the number 1 seed in the league here. One of them will get it and is undetermined who, but it's going to be one of the 2, and I'm sure both want it so that they can call out whoever they choose in the playoffs. Let's see what else here, Bub. So while we're here, let's just stick in the South. So what's going on with the Rockdalian Senators and Pig Newtons are both at 8-5. Obviously, the Senators have way more points, and I should mention that Will's breakdown record is the best in the league. It's 104-39. He's got obviously the most points in the league. I think he only needs about 80 to 90 average, 80-90 points for the last 2 weeks to break the record for most points scored in a Dynasty season. Then we obviously have Phil, who's at 8-5, has a lot less points, but he's right there. What's going on with these 2 teams? What do both these teams need to make it, Bob, into the playoffs?
Well, obviously Phil needs to pick up a game on Will. Like you said, the points are going to come into play there. So Will plays Peril this week.
Okay.
And Phil plays Brutal.
So then
you got to figure Phil's going to win. So that would so let's say Phil wins and Jay Young loses. Right. Not Jay Young. Will.
Oh, okay.
If Will loses and Phil wins.
So in other words, if Phil wins his next 2 games and Will loses his next 2 games.
No, he just needs Will to lose 1.
No, he doesn't.
Yes. Because if Will goes 1-1 and Phil goes 2-0, Phil's going to pick up a
yes,
game.
You're right.
So
You're right.
Phil needs to win his next 2 games against Brandon and Will.
And
And
Will.
he just-
And then Phil's in.
So
because-
Phil needs to win his next 2 games. If Phil wins his next 2 games, he's in.
Did you hear that, Phil? Damn it, look at that. He is controlling his own destiny. So if you win your next 2 games, one of which being what you would think to be a cupcake against Brutal.
And one being a very difficult game.
Right. Then you are in. And Will basically needs to win.
He needs to win next week.
He needs to beat Yellow Peril this week. And then, no,
he doesn't have to. If he loses this week and Phil wins, and then he beats Phil next week, they would be tied, but he would have more points.
But he still needs to, if he beats Yellow Peril, that doesn't mean he's in. Because he could then lose to Phil.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But this week doesn't really matter for him, is my point. All he has to do is win next week.
Right. Okay. True statements here. Into the north. Riverdale Scoopers somehow, somewhere are back in the lead in the division. We got VIP and Boston Lagers all tied at 7 and 6 with the Rapist at 6 and 7. John still's got a fighting chance, but it's not looking good. What does John need to do to win? He needs to win out.
John needs to win out. He needs you to basically lose. You would have to lose out. He need to lose this week, but then beat you next week.
Right. So first of all, he needs Chris to lose to Zach this week, which is not probably going to happen. It's possible.
And then beat you next week.
And then beat me. So okay. So John needs to win out. He needs
you to
VIP.
lose out.
He needs VIP to beat Handy Quacks.
No, to lose to Handy Quacks, but then beat you.
Right.
Next week.
Right.
And then he needs the Loggers, so to beat you
me
this week, but
and
then lose next week
and then
to himself.
Right. Okay.
So it's an easy game. He's basically in.
Now, Boston Lagers.
I want to say that I don't even know if we should even try this.
Should we stop here?
Well, okay.
We're almost done anyway.
Look, so Ben needs to win out. He needs to pick up a game on both you and Chris. So he needs to win out. He needs one of you to lose this week. So if he wins, you would lose.
Yes.
And he would either way. And then
he needs me to beat Chris.
If Heaney wins this week. If you both lose this week, it doesn't matter. He can win. No, he would. Wait a minute.
Yeah, no, you're right. If Ben wins this week against...
He just needs you both to lose a game, basically. He needs both of you to lose one game, and he needs to win out.
This isn't as easy as we thought.
No, it's difficult. So, if he beats you, so he's going to win out. So you're going to lose your first week.
Yeah. And
then he would need you to win next week.
Okay.
And if he loses this week.
Okay. And then when it comes to Chris and I, it's more than likely, everything we just explained is all horseshit, because more than likely, it's going to come down to the final regular season game, not this week, but the following week, when myself plays Chris, VIP on Swole, in a rematch of round 1 of last year's divisional round 1 playoff game. And more than likely, whoever wins that game is going to make it into the playoffs from the North, and probably the only team from the North to make the playoffs. As we just pointed out, horrifically, there are other scenarios which could occur, but more than likely, that is the one that will happen. More to come next week once we have another week. What, Bob?
I bet this is what's going to happen. This is my bold prediction for the day.
Whoa! Bold prediction now.
Maybe I'll do 2. I'll do 2 bold predictions.
You want to save it? Let's give the listeners a little bit of a teaser, feather their asshole a little bit, and have them come craving for some more. Because we're going to wait until next segment to have you deliver your bold prediction or bold predictions.
But it has to do with this.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I'll have another bold prediction later.
Okay.
I think that Ben is going to beat you this week.
Ooh.
Because that is going to absolutely throw a fuck stick.
Huge.
Into the
Everything.
playoff implication. That's honestly, so that's what's going to fuck everything up. If you beat him this week, it's you against Heaney next week. If he beats you, everything's out the window.
Okay. And then we get the Pick'em Challenge, which is just doing a great thing here for the league. Thank you, Ben. It's a tight race, just like everything else here in the Dynasty at this point. I'm not doing well on that. You suck at it. Yeah. You suck at everything this year, Bub. I feel bad for everything that's going on with you right now. But we got Phil, myself, and Whiffin all in the top spot. We got, I think, Zach, Chris, and John or Ben maybe, I forget exactly who, but they're all within 1. It very well may come down to the contender-pretender votes, which occurred back in week 5. a lot of things going on here in the Dynasty. I'll tell you what is going on, though, Bub, is at Jube's Family Restaurant. Jubies!
Now, let's take a look into the future with next week's matchups.
Bub, I think we were just talking offline. We probably, Ben probably sold too early.
Yeah.
And I think I called him out a little bit more harshly than you did back when it occurred.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a good idea. Well, I could see why he did it.
Get off the fence.
I could see why he did it.
And make a stand right now. Go.
I would have done the same thing.
Okay.
Although, obviously, looking back on it, it's easy to say he sold a little too early.
Okay.
He would have won last week. I think if he still had A.J. Green, he'd be in the top spot in the division. However,
I would McCoy over Rice.
Yep. I would have done the same thing.
Okay. So, I'd like to hear that. Thank you, Bubba. You would have done the same thing. You're admitting it would have been wrong, but you would have done the same thing. Okay. Very good.
Looking ahead of me in the division, there's 3 teams.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
You live and you learn. So, week 14.
It happens.
What?
Shit? No, you say what shit, and I say sometimes.
We fucked that up too.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay. There'll be another day, another time for it. Every game here in week 14 means something. May not mean... It means something. So let's go through them, Bub. Boston Loggers, starting the North Riverdale division. The Boston Loggers, who are 7-6, against the Riverdale Scoopers, who are 7-6.
Huge playoff implications.
And as you said, if Loggers beats me, it's just... We can't even explain.
It's a whirlwind of shit.
Exactly.
It's like pooping into a urinal and then just flushing it over and over and over and over. It's just gonna keep spinning around. Right. Like a whirlwind of shit.
And if you're in Australia, it will cause a tornado.
A
tornado
what
of
happens
shit.
When it spins
It goes up. Yeah, it doesn't go down.
No.
Yep. Handy Quacks is fighting VIP on Swole, and obviously, VIP needs this game. We think it should be a layup for Chris, but you never know. Bub, does Zach want Chris to win this game?
No.
They're friends and everything,
No.
or is he really going to try to beat Chris?
No, he wants to win.
So he wants to spoil it.
He wants to beat. Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't want Heaney to win again.
Okay. We got ourselves the Rapists going up against Bubblegum Shrimp, and that is again a game that Johnny C needs. If he's got any shot at anything, he's got to win. So, Bub, you trying to play spoiler and stay out of the pizza box?
Absolutely.
South Riverdale Division, we got and this is a huge game. Rockdalian Senators against Yellow Peril. Will needs 179 points in the final 2 weeks to break the record. So again, I think that averages out to somewhere around 80 to 90 points per, on average. But more, God, how ridiculous would it be? Because this is possible for Will to have the best breakdown record in the league, to literally in the 10-year existence of this wonderful, glorious league, score the most points anyone has ever scored in a season, yet still miss the fucking playoffs.
No,
it's possible.
Maybe me and him could chat about that, because I know a little something about that.
You do, not to the level that Senators does, but
close enough.
Sure.
What was it, third most points ever?
Something like that, yes.
And I missed the playoffs?
You definitely hold the record for the team that scored the most points and not make the playoffs, right.
Good, I'm glad I have that record.
Brutal Deluxe is going up against Pig Newton's predicted score, Bub? Or is this your bull prediction?
This kid, Phil's gonna win 67-51.
Wow, so, okay. All right. Hong Kong Cavaliers up against Soul Glow, and Hong Kong's vying for the division and vying for a number 1 seed, and Soul Glow, again, just trying to play the spoiler here. Now, game of the week, Bub, and hit us with some bold predictions.
Game of the week. Senators against Peril.
Mm-hmm.
My bold prediction this week. No, it doesn't have to do with that game. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
My bold prediction this week is that Brian is going to beat Hong Kong.
Now, you've been extremely wrong.
I've been ice cold. Hey, it happens.
So, you think, have you thought about possibly, doing the double...
The switch and like the reverse psychology stuff?
Like something you want to happen, so you'll say the opposite and hope that you're wrong, which you have been? Or are you just going off of what you're still going to be humble and go with your...
Maybe I am using reverse psychology.
We don't know. We just don't know.
I'll never tell.
Now it is time. Fucking right, it's time. So grab your balls and let's go. Coaches interview. Here we fucking go.
And now on the Jubes Family Restaurant Coach's Guest Hotline, he is a Dynasty board member, he is a Dynasty Power Rankings Association member, he is the Dynasty League spreadsheet analyst, he is the Dynasty website developer, he upset many coaches at the draft with his trigger-happy ways, he once incorrectly stated that he'd never be a seller, he is coach of the 1-12 Brutal Deluxe, he is Coach Brandon McDowall. Coach, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Well, Coach, let's go back to the draft. You were a bit trigger happy on that fateful day with your Nerf weapon. The Dynasty board members, yourself included, may decide to crack down or penalize coaches who abuse their Nerf rights. We're going to talk about that during the offseason again here this year. How do you feel about this?
I'm against it. my motto has always been shoot first, ask questions later. I will be voting early and often on that one.
Sticking with the draft here, Coach. By the way, I think it's very fitting that your name is Brutal Deluxe, considering your team is brutal. But anyway.
Oh, man. It's been a rough year.
Yeah, no kidding. And this is a perfect segue, because I think it goes back to the draft. Did you have too much to drink? Yes. Or did you really think that you had a chance this year?
I don't know, man. I definitely had too much to drink. I'll get that out of the way. I mean, a couple drinks on the way over. Probably not the best idea. And then crazy idea popped in my head about maybe, giving myself a chance the first couple weeks to make something happen. And then that obviously went horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah, it didn't work, Coach.
It's a hard decision because you're so gung ho and excited for a new fantasy football season, and if you're in a position where you're lacking some picks, you don't want to have a year where you're out of it. You want to do what you can to get into it, and you tried and failed, but
miserably.
I will say this, guys. I would do it all again. I really would.
I hope you do next year.
That's actually interesting, Brandon, because I was going to ask you in the Keeper Selection Show. We saw that you created a time machine, and I was going to ask you, if you could take that very same time machine and travel back to the draft and tell your other self, the September 1st or August 30th, whatever it was, version of Brandon, hey. You have like 10 seconds to tell him one thing. What would you tell him?
I would have gone back a little further and told myself to keep Peyton Manning like I wanted to.
Well, but let's say you can't. Let's say you have to. Let's say the time circuits malfunctioned and you had to go to that day.
All right.
What would you tell yourself? You have 10 seconds right before the draft started. Hey, Brandon, you get 10 seconds. Go. What do you tell yourself?
Go for it, man. Have another cocktail.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're not learning here from our mistakes, which is fine. In the other debate here, Will talked to us about this a couple weeks ago. He had a shot of Irish whiskey, but I think he, loosened up the nerves. He didn't go balls out like maybe you did. You went a little too far. May have affected, your
next year.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. So this has obviously been a horrible, terrible, disgusting year here for you, Brutal Deluxe. And granted, you have had the hardest schedule, but you're in the bottom 3 in passing, rushing, receiving, and defensive ranks. Pretty much everything possible.
And coach rating.
Oh, I didn't know that one. You've received negative coaching achievement points for scoring 60 points or less and scoring 75 points or less 3 weeks in a row at some point this year. You've scored the least points in a week in your franchise's history, as well as your franchise's longest losing streak of 8, which you are currently in the midst of. You started this year tied for first place in all-time winning percentage, and now you're at 29-29. You're a 500 franchise, and you're ranked 6th all-time, right in the middle of the pack. In a league like the Dynasty, how concerned are you about your team's legacy?
Dude, this is not one I want to reflect on, and that whole rant right there, I mean, sums it up. It's not a good year and not something I ever want to repeat, and I'll throw you guys a curveball here and tell you I kind of regret selling.
What?
Bum's head just exploded right now.
What?
This is radio gold right here.
Did I hear that right? Are you drinking again?
No, I'm telling you.
I think that segues perfectly into our next question, Bob.
Oh, wow. Let me compose myself for a second. Last week on the show, Coach Johnny C. called you the worst Dynasty coach. Coming from the coach with the most losses in Dynasty history, what is your response?
Oh, man, I put that in the same category as being compared to the guards, and screwed up my draft this year, and, you know, I can only partially blame the booze there, but, you know, I'm certainly not happy, and certainly picked up another rival here for sure. I look forward to sticking to John long and hard next year.
Yeah, that's how we like it.
What do you have to say, Brandon, to me, who I've said many times that, and I think I even said this at the draft, I believe with what you did at the draft, initiated a series of events which will eventually lead to Bruto Deluxe being in the very bottom of all-time Dynasty stats within the next 4 years. What do you have to say to that?
I couldn't agree less with you. I think you know, this was a tough year, and my record up to this year has been pretty good. So
that is true.
I'd expect nothing but good things for the future.
You do have more of a track record of success versus failure. So we will agree to disagree regarding that. Now, I did want to ask you, Brandon, as you know, you do a great job in many aspects of the league, one of which being the league spreadsheet analyst. But a role that you've been working on for quite some time here, and something that a few Dynasty members are getting a little bit antsy regarding.
I know.
Yeah, Will and Matt Whiffen and a few others have mentioned this here on this very show. The Dynasty League website developer. As you know, you were hoping to have this rolled out last year, and it obviously is still not ready. Give us an update. Where are we? When do we expect it ready? What the hell's going on?
You know, I still have kind of an aggressive timeline here. I mean, I think you and I agreed that it would be ready for, holy shit, it's actually past the deadline. Never mind.
Yeah, by 2 years.
But, you know, I'm 3 pages in, man. It's been a learning experience. I mean, I thought it was going to be piece of cake, pick it up like, you know, anything else, and there's a lot more to it than I anticipated. So, and I want it to be right. I don't want to, you know, put a pile of shit out there for everyone to use. I want it to be great, you know, and be what we all want it to be.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe the wait will be well worth it. And from what I've seen, very limited amount of it, I think it would be. You know, if it ends up being what we hope it will be, certainly the wait could be worth it. So again, we'll wait and see. Let's take it to the Twitter machine, Bob.
Okay, we got first question from the Twitter machine. At Dynasty Bowl 8 bench points. If you could have any animal in the world shrunk down to the size of a cat or blown up to the size of a cat as a pet, what would you pick? Would you like me to repeat the question?
I would say a bearded dragon, a lizard.
So you just want a bearded dragon. That's basically the size of a cat already.
No, they're a lot smaller, Bob. We're talking the size 12 shoe. That's max size. Now we're doubling that.
I'm thinking of a Komodo dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's. But by the way, the correct answer was elephant. But
elephant.
Yeah, that was the correct.
I think that was on TV already. You know, that was a miniature giraffe.
Yeah, well, that's what made me think of the question. Yes, but the correct answer is elephant.
All right.
Can you just imagine an elephant in your house running around, like getting you things and helping you shower and stuff? Like curling.
I don't like the idea of an elephant running in my house, but a shrunken one would be pretty sweet.
That's the stupid question. That's the fucking question. The question is not, would you like a full-grown African male elephant, bull elephant, running around your house? It's if you could have an elephant that was the size of a cat as a pet running around, would you do it? Yes, you would. It's fucking awesome.
Brandon, Bub is.
I would. You know what, Bob? I've had exposure to that growing up in South Africa, man. We call those cars. That's how we get around. The whole allure of an elephant is a little bit different for me, you know.
That's a good point. We didn't
you're
think
right.
of that.
You're right. I take it all back.
And then we had another Twitter question here. At Macro Enabler went ahead and asked, "Hey, Brandon, you joined the Dynasty in Dynasty Season 6, so you've been in the league for the entire era here. How important is this season's Dynasty champion to who you'll eventually be voting for to be enshrined into the Dynasty Hall of Fame for Era 2?
I have a small correction. I thought I joined in D7, but I could be wrong. Maybe
Shit.
D6 was a rough year, and that's why I blocked it from my mind.
No, I think you're right. I think it was D7. So for 4 of the 5 years in the era, you would be part of it.
Can you repeat the question again? That
Jesus
completely
Christ.
derailed my thought.
Basically, how important is the champion, whoever wins this year, to whoever it is that you'll vote for to be enshrined into the Era 2 Dynasty Hall of Fame?
I mean, I'm on the side of the folks that think, you know, winning a championship is kind of necessary, in my opinion, to kind of take that sort of prestigious award. I mean, I think you gotta have been there, you know, and succeeded. And a successful season to me is a win, you know.
So with that said, and I would agree with you if this is what you mean, if Chris goes on to win, which would be his second and back-to-back Dynasty championships this year, then we should make an exception to the rule, because technically you have to...
I don't think that's what Brandon was saying.
Well,
This is a
I'm not
new
really
question.
sure what he's asking.
No, he's just saying that he's not going to vote for someone who doesn't win a
Okay,
title
then I'll
in the era.
ask a different way. I was going the other way, but I'll go the other way then. So, if, let's say, hypothetically, Matt Whiffen wins this year, certainly possible, or Jay Young, or Will, we would have had 5 different Dynasty champions this year. In that, who would you vote for then? Would you just randomly pick between the 5?
Maybe no one.
Nobody.
You have
nobody.
to vote for one.
I would vote
if
for
you have,
nobody.
If you have to vote for one, which you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You have
I would
to
take
vote
a
for
warning and not
Dynasty.
vote, and then I would.
Yes, you
I would,
do. You
Why?
have
I would-
because there
I
has
would
to be
rally
a
the other
coach
coaches.
from Era 2 who is in the Dynasty Hall of Fame representing that era. You have
Why?
to. That's because it's a rule. If you don't like the rule, then we need to go back. Then we need
We're gonna have
address
to
it.
add that. We're gonna have to add that to the.
We need to vote on it. I'm with
right.
Bob. We got to vote on it.
All right. Well, if the rule stands, which is the way the rule currently is now, then in that example, would you just randomly pick between the 5?
I think then you need to look at other things. I mean, winning percentage.
Okay,
you
so
know,
Brian
number of
Cavalieri.
wins. I mean,
I'm stopping you, damn it.
Okay.
Sorry. Brian Cavalieri would have the highest winning percentage of the 5 one-year wonders. So
congratulations, you did it.
so you would vote for
Brian
Brian
Cavalieri.
over, I don't know, like Bubba, or like me, who completely dominated in every other aspect other than not winning a championship, which I agree is important. And we're going to talk more about this in a future show. But
This needs to be its own show, man.
this does need to be its own show.
Eric's getting worked up over here.
We need. Let's table that. Let's table that. But something to start thinking about, everybody. Something to start thinking about.
This is like some political stuff right here. Are you campaigning already?
I am not campaigning. I just
No, we're gonna move on.
No,
we're
no,
gonna
let me-
move on.
I
no,
want to say one more
no,
thing.
No.
I'm
No.
going to say one more thing.
No.
Because I don't want
No.
the misperception
No.
out there
No.
that I would
No.
think Chris
No.
should be in
No.
the Hall of Fame
No.
if he wins again this year.
You do or don't.
But I do. But if he doesn't, all I'm saying is that I want the league to do the right thing. Leave it at that.
All right,
I think we need to
Brandon.
talk about whether or not he's eligible. I mean,
He wouldn't be, but I think that we should make an exception to the rule.
Well, this is week 13 of the goddamn Dynasty 10 season.
Yeah, we have fucking 2 regular seasons left in Era 2, so it's worth the discussion.
No, not yet.
Okay,
I
so when
guess
is it?
we should maybe first talk about whether or not he's going to make it.
We already did.
Oh,
All
now
right,
we're
Brandon,
going.
you are playing Phil this week, and so we caught up with him real quick while he was probably drinking margaritas after scoring 86 points and getting a win again. And he had this to say: more embarrassing accomplishment this season, the likelihood of draft pizza buyer or losing twice to the Pig Newtons, whose roster, according to the Dynasty Podcast pundits, is the worst thing ever to happen to fantasy football.
Have you seen my team?
Yeah, your team is pretty
miss that
horrible
team
as
in there?
well. But Phil's team sucks.
I'm looking at it right now. You're kind of right.
All right. Well, with that being said, Coach
I
Brand,
guess that's my response.
That
that's
works.
perfect.
That
That is perfect. Good luck the last couple of weeks of the regular season. It's been a tough year for you, Brandon. Obviously, you're probably looking forward to the off season and your next year. It's too bad that you apparently think that Trent Dilfer is a better quarterback than Dan Marino. Good luck to you the rest of the way, and thank you for being on the Dynasty Podcast. What? Ken Griffey Jr. and Charles Barkley are apparently better than some of the other stupid Chris Sabo on the Cincinnati Reds.
Robert Horry has 6.
Robert Horry. Yeah. Oh, fuck this shit. Anyway, Brandon, thank you. Sorry, thank you now.
All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Wow, we're getting a little out of hand here, bub. We're getting a little riled up.
You're getting a little riled up.
You wanted to slap me earlier when I kept going and I wouldn't stop.
I know.
But you didn't because you like me. I like you too.
I farted again.
I could tell. Hey, let's go ahead and get Andrew and Sven on the line and talk to them about their WWF themed fantasy football draft and their league and just fantasy football fun. Let's do it.
Ooh, brother!
Now, the Dynasty Podcast brings you an interactive and likely ridiculous segment which borderlines on actual legit media. Buckle up your fucking seatbelts for the Dynasty Podcast interactive segment.
And now, on the Jube's Family Restaurant Interactive Guest Hotline, I am filled with piss and vinegar to bring to you guys the people who are responsible for the old school WWF-themed fantasy football draft. He is the commissioner of this league. His name is Andrew Kastanos, and he is with his fellow league member. His first name is Sven, and they're both on the phone from Dallas, Texas. And Andy and Sven, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having us, guys.
So, Sven, I'm going to direct this question to you because I think this probably applies to you more. Like many others that we saw this article on Deadspin.com along with the pictures of you guys' absolutely awesome idea of having a WWF-themed fantasy football draft. Other than Al Gore's internet, fantasy football and the WWF, which is now known as the WWE, which is bullshit, were the two best things to come out of the 1990s. You guys had the genius idea to combine them into one entity. How did you come up with this awesome, brilliant idea?
So we were sitting there and we were golfing over in Vegas at Shadow Creek, and the whole past couple of days we were trying to come up with our theme. Andrew kind of instituted early on that we had some stupid theme, dressing up in sport coats and athletic shorts, and then a mustache draft. I mean, just random stuff. I can't even remember the other one we had, but just some stupid theme. And so we decided we wanted to make it a little bit more outrageous this year, and we, I was reading this article a couple days ago about Jake the Snake and him being in all sorts of interesting shapes and whatnot, and so he's reading this article about him and just thought it'd be hilarious if we all dressed up as wrestlers and someone dressed up as the cracked out Jake the Snake or something.
Master of the DDT.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I just wanted to point that
he
out.
Probably has the best theme music too, I'd have to say.
It's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, straight synthesizer. And then the other thing, I knew that Andrew, a big wrestler, fan when he was a kid, just like I was, and he loved Bret Hitman, so I knew he would love to dress up as him. So I told him about the idea, and immediately we got to do it. Everyone's got to participate. They don't dress up. They're going to go on auto draft or some nonsense. So it wouldn't have worked out if someone wouldn't have dressed up and got the random dudes kind of hanging around, and everyone else dressed up as ridiculous wrestlers with speedos and whatever.
If Andrew, you guys, Sven, you just said before how you guys have done a couple different themes, and so how long exactly has this whole theme idea been happening?
Oh, probably 9 years now.
Jesus, is this? I'm guessing this is probably your favorite one.
Absolutely, no, without question.
I personally, I like the mustache one. I just think that would just be.
It actually wasn't mustache. It was actually called sleek facial hair draft.
Sweet.
Where you had to have something amazing on your face, whether it's a Fu Manchu, a mustache, fucking Zach Galifianakis beard, something awesome that you don't normally wear on your face.
Those things are
ever, and would never go to work with.
Those things are all awesome. What other than that, what other themes have you had in the past?
We have had many different ones. I can't even remember. We did a redneck one year, like 2 years ago. Everyone wore like cut-off jean shorts, a flannel, maybe a mustache, mullet, just looking dumb.
I love this, by the way.
Yeah, it's, having this stuff for the draft adds a little color. It's fun. You make fun of each other. You kind of relive some college glory days, It's another way to hang out with your buddy.
I like it. And
But another draft we did was we all wore sport coats with, like, athletic shorts or something stupid. Kind of mixing business with playing football in the front yard.
Stupidity is key with this, which makes it awesome. But Bub, I think Bub has another question for you.
Yeah, Sven.
Yep.
Other than the draft, do you guys do anything kind of out of the ordinary with your league, or is it more just the draft and then it's kind of a standard league after that?
I guess with the draft, someone always ends up getting wasted and being a jackass, so I don't know if that's standard or what.
That's standard for us, at least, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, nothing really crazy out of the ordinary. Everyone just getting drunk and drafting and just hanging out.
So you guys don't have a podcast for specifically for your fantasy football league?
Not yet, but we do have our morning notes that one of the guys writes, and it's a pretty damn good article, and we have Wednesday matchup, like a recaps or talking about who's going to win predictions, all that, stuff.
Okay, excellent. And this question goes to Andrew. I guess looking for another commissioner's perspective on this question. Andrew, I got a couple. I guess I should take a couple of tips from you. We have a hard enough time, kind of as it is, getting some guys to do some kind of quick, fun little videos, who make it to the championship game, or maybe even getting everyone together to go to a home Patriots game together. How on earth do you get everyone to dress up and participate? Like, I know that if we try to do this, some guys would just basically say, "Fuck you, I'm not doing it." How do you get them to actually do it?
Easy. I'm a dictator.
Are you say maybe a Nazi?
Oh man, it's just really funny. I get it all the time. They all call me the dictator.
So wait a minute, I'm not the only one who gets.
I get pissed off at people. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad
I
there's
just
other.
want the shit to run smoothly, and if you are an asshole, and they make fun of you all the time for it.
Fuck yeah.
But for some point, we're all buddies, and there's some level of respect. And everyone just fucking mans up and does it because they know that between Sven and I, both being dictator European assholes, you're gonna get kicked out of the fucking league. Sorry.
We've certainly had our fair share of people getting kicked out of our league, some more than once. no names, but I hear you. I think I need to crack the whip a little bit harder, Bob. Sounds like this tactic is working well for this league. But is there a penalty, like if someone comes to the draft and they don't have and they're not dressed up? Like, would you kick them out? What would you do at that point?
Yeah, we would have made ultimatums before we started, saying something like, "If you don't do X, then this will happen." And I get, really quickly, like 6-7 guys on board with me to back me up.
Right.
That's, you get majority before you really get there, and then they show up not dressed up, they go on auto draft.
Auto draft.
And that's just the way it is. And we make people pay before draft night, so they're enticed. Well, they're not going to want to pay their entry fee and then take an auto draft team and suck ass and then complain all year.
Right. No, I learned.
They just suck up and do it.
Absolutely, I learned. We implemented that a long time ago.
Just out of curiosity, guys, you just mentioned it. Do you mind asking? Do you mind if we ask how much your entry fee is? Just out of curiosity.
I'm asking Sven if he minds because you never know.
Oh,
our
yeah,
entry fee is $1,200.
Holy shit!
So let me get this straight. So to the Dynasty listeners who are listening to this show right now, because we're actually a bit simulcasting right now, because I'm sure the league members of you guys' league are going to hopefully hear this as well. And you guys all are awesome, by the way. But our league fee this year, Bob, was what, $160? $160. We have what we feel to be a great fantasy football league. You guys' fee was in the $1,200. We have guys who I can't continue, but I can't even go.
Has it been the same like for the last 9 or so years, or has it gone up? Or
it's actually gone up. Year over year.
Touche for you guys. Touche. That's impressive. Wow.
You know what?
Yep, go ahead.
And I don't think we're any different than you, and entry fee doesn't change anything.
Right. It's just
for us, we hate each other so much, and we compete on such a higher level. And I don't want to say that we like football or we like fantasy football better than anybody else. We just want to fucking do it and compete. And we're gamblers, and we're always screwing with each other, so that it's perfect for us. It just works. And we have 14 people, so everybody tries really hard. It's always competitive. Trash talking is at an ultimate high, and it's fun.
Oh no! Hey, more power to you. That's some money there. Anyway, back to
there are leaks all over Dallas that are much more expensive, and there probably are everywhere.
I'm glad.
So I don't know if ours is high, but
that sounds pretty high. I think for most of our listeners that'll be pretty high. But anyway, back to the point at hand. This is a question for both of you. Who did you
put it on speaker so Sven can hear the question?
Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
Who did each of you dress up as? And then the second part of that question is, who's your favorite? Who was your favorite costume?
You guys could answer that by taking off the speakerphone, just so we can all hear each other.
Yeah, this is Sven. I was Hulk Hogan, and that one was a little bit easier to do. Order costume, whatever. So I wouldn't say my costume is a favorite, but I would probably say either the Iron Sheik or Jake the Snake were two of my top ones.
Okay.
And I believe Andrew dressed up as the Excellence of Execution, Bret the Hitman Hart. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I dressed up as the Hitman.
Excellent.
Andy.
Excellent.
Who's, as you all know,
who was your favorite costume?
The best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys right now. I'm not afraid to admit this. I'm no stranger to dressing up as wrestlers and conducting long, elaborate, and incredible amateur wrestling productions known as the BFS or the Big Fucking Show. I have a soft spot in my heart for the WWF. at our draft, what we do is we don't have a theme or anything, but we do have a bunch of other shenanigans going on. We nerf people when they redraft somebody. We have I'm not going to get into it all, but we have a lot of stuff going on at our draft. But I have kind of a little suggestion for you guys, if you don't mind, if you maybe do the WWF theme again. If somebody redrafts a player, which I don't know about you guys, but that's like something that it's almost like
sin.
It's a sin.
It's a sin.
You don't do that in our draft. I think that everybody should have free reign to deliver that wrestler's finishing maneuver to that person. So if, let's say, the Macho Man redrafts fucking Antonio Brown and he was already drafted in the 8th round, he goes to draft him again in the 11th round, well, guess what? Fucking whoever's Mankind gets to give him a freaking double-arm DDT. Razor Ramon comes up from behind, slaps on the Razor's Edge, followed by the $1 Million Dream from behind, and then so forth and so on. What do you guys think?
That's unbelievable.
Thank you. You know what?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, Andrew, I was actually got a perfect commissioner ranking last year, and that is one of the many, many reasons why. I like to brag about that.
It's awesome. And I have to tell you guys something. Sven, actually, the draft was at his house that night, and he wanted so badly to get a inflatable wrestling rink.
Oh.
Yeah, and we were gonna totally do this, but we have a friend named Carter who's just, oh my gosh, he's just whipped by his girlfriend. It's unbelievable.
Friggin' Carter / Wilde Young. What?
So Carter had to go to his girlfriend's ballerina recital the next day. Seriously, guys, that's serious.
He's dating a 12-year-old?
And he could not stay out late and drink, and he was scared that he was going to get hurt in the ring from drinking too much, and she totally would not let him go.
Is that the Razor Ramon dude?
No, this is the Sergeant Slaughter dude.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
That's not
Really?
what I would have guessed.
It's unbelievable. Nicest guy in the world, but just no balls.
No sack. And Will, I was just kidding, of course. So his name is.
So we really had this idea, and we were going to wrestle. We were drinking heavily at this draft, and we think we were going to have like a one-on-one singles contest in the ring. Safety, of course. We were going to wear protective gear, but we were going to beat the shit out of each other.
Right.
So that would have been really fun.
Drinking.
Didn't happen though.
Drinking, wrestling, fantasy football, complete
Unbelievable, right?
orgasm. Well, their names are Andrew and Sven. He's a great commissioner, a great league member. They're doing wonderful things here for the growth and popularity of fantasy football. Are you guys on Twitter or Facebook at all?
Our league is not. No.
Okay. Well,
that'd be a great idea. We should do that after 9 years, huh?
Yeah. Well, we do it, and it's going well. So I would strongly advise it. If you guys do have one, feel free to email me. Maybe we can all become friends, Twitter and Facebook friends together, and kind of team up together and share ideas and whatnot. So Andrew and Sven, keep up the great work. Thanks for being on the show here on the Dynasty Podcast, and you both take care.
That was this week's Dynasty Podcast interactive segment.
Oh, Bob, if we had a WWF themed draft one of these days, who would you dress up as?
Probably Andre the Giant.
So basically just a black Speedo?
Yep. and a barrel of beer.
I would probably, as much as I'd want to go with The Rock or maybe X-Pac, I'd have to go with the Taker. The goddamn Undertaker. I'd have to go with him.
Can I change my answer?
Sure.
I want to dress up as a tag team with someone. I don't know who. Maybe the Bushwhackers.
The Bushwhackers would be a good one. Maybe the Legion.
The Head Shrinkers.
The Head Shrinkers. Maybe the Legion of Doom.
Would be good.
Well, Andrew and Sven were just. I thought that was great stuff, and he, as I mentioned earlier, we've sent this show to him and their league, who hopefully they're all listening, and members of the Andrew and Sven League, which we envy via your awesome idea of this draft and whatnot, and apparently the amount that they pay.
Yeah, it's a little more than us.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us know what you think. We really would love to hear from you. You can tweet us at Riverdale Gazette, and that's RIVRDALE Gazette. Or you can Facebook us here at the Dynasty, at the Dynasty League. I think I just sent Andrew a friend request, or just email me at thedynastykommissioner@gmail.com. We definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about this show, being outsiders and not part of the Dynasty. So, Bub, what do you think about... So next week is our final regular season show. What do you think about having a last hurrah regarding the Call the Dynasty podcast team segment? Should we?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
How about this? Let's do it if we get enough people who want to partake.
Done.
All right. And what should be the number of, how many?
5.
Okay, so if we get 5, we're doing it.
Yep.
If we get less than 5, we're not doing it. So you heard it. Bub and I have challenged the rest of you, whether you are part of the Dynasty or not. Hey, Andrew and Sven's League, we would love for you guys to ask us a question that we will answer live on the show next week. Or if you are a regular listener or part of the Dynasty, you already know how it works. So
well, they don't know how it works.
Oh, let them know, Bubba.
Just real quick, Andrew and Sven's League, if you want to call, you can ask us literally anything in the world.
Anything.
It can be about fantasy, it can be about football, sports, it can be about science, it can be about space, it can be about math. I'm the resident math expert. Literally anything, like how your body works, like what it's like when you get an erection. So, whatever you want, we will answer it for you. So let us know.
Right. Exactly. And like I said, those 3 methods earlier, contact me probably the easiest by just simply emailing me, thedynastykommissioner@gmail.com. This is going to wrap up episode number 15 of the Dynasty Podcast. I'd like to thank Coach Brandon McDowall, thanks to Commissioner Andrew Kastanos and Sven, and thanks to all of our loyal listeners.
As Eric said, we'd love to do one final Call the Dynasty Podcast team segment next week. Whenever you've called in before or you haven't, whether you're in the Dynasty or you're not, whether you're human or not, we'd love to hear from you.
This is Commissioner Scooper.
This is Commissioner Apprentice Bub Palucha.
And we will be back next week with episode number 16. And we will welcome Coach Matt Whiffen of the Hong Kong Cavaliers. And hopefully, possibly, if we get 5 of you bastards to cooperate, we will have another installment of the Call the Dynasty podcast team segment, plus much, much more. Maybe we'll know more about the playoff scenario. Maybe we'll even dip a little bit more into the Hall of Fame debate. God only knows what will happen. See you next week. Over and out.
Hi, this is Dynasty Pick'em Coordinator Coach Ben Green of the Boston Loggers, and this marvelous episode of the Dynasty Podcast was sponsored by Jube's Family Restaurant. Located in the Whitensville Plaza, the bastards deliver. And if it takes longer than 30 minutes, you get a free 10-inch spiked dildo. Jube's Family Restaurant. Don't miss out.